Alright, fellas. So this is going to be the review episode here that we're going to start doing weekly. Pretty much it's going to be like about every Monday. And it's going to be pretty much going over things going on in the league. Excuse me, the week advances. Different things of that sort. Right now, first thing I'm going to cover for us here is pretty much continue a little bit on the layout. It's going to be, this episode is going to be division predictions, playoff and Super Bowl predictions, you know, go over who we think is some possible MVP candidates. The power rankings isn't uploaded yet on Daddy League, so it's going to have to wait till next week here. But as we go through each week, it'll be every Monday around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And what we'll do is we'll go over pretty much the power rankings, player of the weeks, you know, depending on how many advances we had during that week. Marquee games, and it won't be just because you won a Super Bowl, Chris, that you'll always be the marquee game. It'll just be more of strong rivalry games, you know, different people that have talked noise during the, you know, on the message board there on the Facebook. Different things like that. You know, people who battled it out many times in the playoffs. That'll be more of what the marquee games, bad blood games is. You know, can't always rely on Daddy Leagues or the system to always say what the game of the week is actually a good game. But that's what it's going to be. So we're going to get right into it here. First thing we want to do is go through and give some predictions about the divisions itself. We'll go through each division. And we'll be starting with the AFC North. I want to give it just a few more moments, let some people get on here. Just waiting on a few more people. Just want to give it a few minutes, let some folks get on here. Yeah, just going over it again one more time here. Pretty much what this weekly format is going to be. It's going to roughly be about every Monday at about 7 Central. Just want to go over, you know, everything that has happened pretty much on the advances. What we went over, different things as far as power rankings, player of the weeks, depending on how many advances we had during that time period. This first episode here is just going to go over, you know, we're going to do a little bit of division predictions, playoff Super Bowl predictions, you know, possible MVP candidates. And, of course, now we don't have a power ranking just yet because it hadn't officially updated on Daddy Leagues. But once we do, we'll be able to get a little bit more information out there. And then the marquee games, bad blood games, it's not going to be necessarily what Daddy League puts as the top game or what the schedule shows. It's like the Monday night game or, you know, Thursday night game or anything like that. It's more so going to be based off of, you know, who's talked the most amongst each other as far as on the message board and the in the league on Facebook, or who's played each other a lot, or different things like that. It's not going to always be just because you went to the Super Bowl, Chris, that you're going to be the marquee game. So we can give a little predictions here. I'm gonna get into it here. Give it a couple more minutes, let a couple more people jump on. And then we also want to give a big shout out to the Bengals owner. Had some personal stuff go on. He needed to step away from the league, so we greatly appreciate him for his time and him putting in fierce battles and being competitive out there in the AFC North. And of course, always welcome him back if he decided to come back when things straighten out in his personal life. What's going on away from the game here? All right, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So the first division that comes up is definitely the AFC North. So that, of course, we got Chris, we got Sim. We just brought in somebody new here, ZP, aka the Beast. He's gonna jump into that division there, and then of course, so we're gonna see exactly what happens here. ZP's taking over the Browns. I think we got to make sure we got to find a Bengals user. I'm still trying to figure out if it's the Bengals or the Browns, which team is the open one. But yeah, so hopefully we can get ZP to give Chris some competition, so we can get him to tone down a little bit there. And of course, we always want Sin to be competitive here. We want the Steelers to always represent like how they supposed to. I would say, looking at that division on who we think would win, until we can get some consistency there, we ain't got no choice. Got to give it to Chris, especially with losing the Bengals owner. That was the only person at this present time that was giving him a run for his money. Other than that, I would say, depending on who, someone in that league, in that division, could be the Steelers, could be the Browns, depending on how ZP do bringing up the end. They might be able to get a 9-7 or a 10-6 wild card. So yeah, we definitely got the Ravens winning AFC North. AFC South, somebody got to do something about the Texans. I played them tough. Everybody playing them tough, but the only person that seemed to beat them that go back and forth is with him and not him and Kia. I have to say this time, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and give it to Kia for this one, and then definitely have the Texans getting the wild card. So that'll at least be one of the wild cards. AZ, I need you to do something, baby. I need you to do something with these Titans. I'm not even going to say nothing about Art with the Colts. I expect him to be another top 10 pick next year. I'm not even going to say anything about that. So then moving on to the AFC East. Definitely with the Dolphins. He showed up last year. I mean, we want to see what Jay Young gonna do with these Patriots. Bills owner, if I'm not mistaken, I think we lost a Bills owner here, and the Jets is bottom of the barrel. We got to get some competition in the AFC East coming strong here. But I would definitely say the Dolphins win that division as far as right now. I'm gonna see what Jay Young do with the Patriots, but got to give it to the Dolphins until we prove otherwise. AFC West. AFC West, I still gotta go with Tab. I mean, Chiefs represent, Broncos, so. We just got to see what we can get from the Chargers and Raiders, but I got to go with the Chiefs with Tab. I got to give it to him. I would expect him to win that division. Then we jumping over to the NFC side. NFC North, we got Vikings, Packers, Lions, Bears. Bears, I expect them to be competitive, but I still think they bringing up the rear. I gotta see something from my boy Trey with the Packers. I mean, I put it on him like 31-9 or something like that. He got a good scheme, but we got to do something with him on defense. So I still don't expect him to really make a playoff push just yet. Smitty, if Smitty show up and play his games on time, Smitty could definitely be somebody that could be in contention for a wild card. I definitely just got to say Vikings probably end up winning this division, with no contention issues there. I think he'll get that division hands down. Moving to the NFC South. I mean, we had like 2 or 3 owners for Panthers last year. Then, of course, we had, Saints bringing up the rear. So, I mean, as far as with those two, until they can show us differently, I would expect the Saints and the Panthers to be towards the bottom. Rico, man, I need you to do something with these Falcons, bro. It's like I almost want to call you Marty Schottenheimer because it's like you have a good record during the season, but it's like we can't get over that hump. I might have to do some labbing with you or something to get you over that hump. But yeah, I got to give it to you, boy. He took over with the Bucks. He got RG3, and they went to the conference championship. So I can't even question that. It's his division until Rico can do more than what that, because I don't know what the Saints and Panthers going to do. Going to NFC East, I mean, it's not even a question. Jordan won a Super Bowl, so I mean, it's his division until somebody say otherwise. I still think Kalen bringing up the rear. Come on, we need you to do something. We need you to get some GM skills or something. Cowboys, Redskins, I mean, it's the middle of the pack. I mean, honestly, with that, I can't really say. Can't really call it. Then getting into my division itself, which I feel is probably one of the toughest divisions out here. NFC West. I would definitely still feel like Ant's still bringing up the rear with the Rams. It's honestly, I say for this year for the NFC West, it's a toss-up between me and Nick as far as who wins it. I don't know if Anthony will be able to get the jump in. We might be able to get 3 teams in the playoffs in the NFC West. You don't know. But, I mean, I honestly feel like it'll be a fight between me and Nick on who will win. I'll go ahead and give it to Nick for right now because he did win it last year. And I would say possibly with myself bringing up at least a wild card spot. Going into who I feel would be Super Bowl candidates. I honestly still feel like Jordan has a good shot. Unless somebody's able to dethrone him, I feel like Jordan has a good shot in the NFC. I mean, I played him, and I pride myself on running the ball and having run defense. And even though he didn't run the ball that hard against me, he still threw for a whole bunch of yards, so I couldn't stop him. So until we can see something else otherwise, I would still say in the NFC, Jordan is the person to beat. In the AFC, it's a little bit more murkier because I think it comes down to between 3 teams. Ravens, Texans, and Jaguars. I feel like those are the only 3 teams that right now could really push for a title coming out of the AFC. I mean, I think between the Texans and the Jaguars, they'll knock each other off. But even though Chris, you still got to respect him. He's been to 3 straight Super Bowls, 2 from the last cycle, and then 1 for this first one here in this cycle. So you got to get him man his props until this he ain't there no more. So definitely say my predictions is Ravens, Jags, and Texans for the AFC side. Now, getting into what we would call the marquee games for the first week of the season, and it would have to be. I'm just going to do the top 3 games. Looking at the league schedule. One game I have to say off the bat was definitely Seahawks-Cards game. I went back and watched that game. I don't know what was going on the extra points. It was like early on in the game, it was a lot of blocked field goals and intercepted 2-point conversions, and it was a lot going on in that game. Then I would definitely say, moving on to the next marquee game, I was expecting Bengals and Browns to be a good game, but we got some things moving around there. So then we would have to. I was looking to see. I would say the next one will be the Patriots and Vikings, with the Patriots definitely showing up, showing what he can do, and then representing for his division like he should. And then other than that, I'm waiting to see what the Texans-Titans game is going to show. I feel like that's a big game in the AFC. I definitely feel like that's a big game in the AFC. Other than that, I'll say going to MVP candidates. So I know that, if I'm not mistaken, Jordan did trade LeGarrette Blount, which was the MVP from last season. So you typically going to see an MVP from a team that's going to do well. My first MVP prediction, it's going to be LeGarrette Blount could definitely be in the running. I mean, Kid's going to have his team competitive. Then, of course, when it comes to the Texans, I mean, I really feel like, he'll be able to have something going with Deshaun Watson and even Lamar Miller. Definitely feel like those two would be some people in contention. That's 2 from the AFC side. Then I would say from the NFC side, I don't know. Derrick Henry, I mean, Jordan has Derrick Henry now. AZ traded it to him, and, people trying to move around, make different moves in the league. So I would say that, Derrick Henry could definitely be somebody, especially with the way that Jordan plays. I guess he just wanted to go younger because I know that LeGarrette Blount ain't got no foot speed. So he'd get brought down from behind fairly easily. And then I would say, other than that, maybe if you look at this trade that we just had pop up with Nick getting Kaiser, which I don't know what's going on with the Chargers, and me personally, I feel like it's bad GMing, but that's just my personal decision. We've traded Phillip Rivers, and then now for Kaiser. Now we finna trade Kaiser to somebody else. I don't know what the Chargers is doing. I really don't know what he's doing. But if anything, I know whenever Nick get a good quarterback, he's always a force. So I'm definitely not ready to deal with that nonetheless. But other than that, that's all we pretty much have here for the first week. We went over the marquee games, went over who we feel is possible MVP candidates, talked about who we thought was going to be in the playoffs, who we thought would be in the Super Bowl. I'm not giving a prediction on who I think would win. Went over division predictions, and we'll next Monday we'll go over power rankings. We should have some updated power rankings as well. We should have some players of the week, who showed out week or weeks, depending on how the advances go. We got to get these games in, fellas. We got to make sure we play these games. Other than that, we'll see y'all next Monday around 7 Central.